Welcome, everybody. You're on Hot or Not, and we got a legend in the house, Mr. Tommy Chong. If you don't know who he is, then you shouldn't be alive, basically. Um, so, Tommy, oh
Yeah.
man, I got so many questions. But you're a living legend. You're in so many cult classic films. You're cameoed in a bunch of stoner flicks. You've done voiceovers in some really big blockbusters like Zootopia. Most people know you in the Cheech and Chongs. I mean, what's your secret to success or secret to just staying relevant for so many years? I mean, from the '70s till today.
Well, when people ask me what my favorite strain is, and I got a stock answer, and it said, I haven't found it yet.
Wow.
Well, that's the same thing as my career. I really haven't found what I'm really good at yet. I'm going to try everything until I find it. And then when I do, well, then I probably won't even know it.
I mean, that's a good answer. It keeps you bubbling, keeps the blood flowing. I guess you always seeking out that
Yeah,
next.
yeah, yeah. I look at life like climbing a mountain. You know, like a lot of people climb a mountain to get to the top, and they go as fast as they can because the only, I guess, motivation is to beat somebody else. Well, with me, I'm not a jogger. I'm a stroller. I like to stroll, and climbing a mountain. If it looks too difficult, then I'll look for an easier way. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And so I like to enjoy my life. Which is why I was late for the podcast today because for some reason, I guess it's age, but I think I've reached the point, where I wake up and I go, oh, wow, I'm awake and I'm still alive, you know, and then what am I going to do today? What adventure am I going to go on today? Well, then I have JP call me and tell me, well, you got a Zoom call here and another call there. And, and I register it, but I don't put it like, I don't know. I think it's age. Anyway, I just go about my business like I got no care in the world and no nothing to do, and then I end up missing some Zoom calls and some stuff. I don't know, man. I enjoy my own ineptness. What's the word? Ineptness. I enjoy
Hey,
it.
it's great, and it keeps you smiling, laughing, and it just keeps you going. I love it. I love that
Yeah,
attitude.
yeah. Yeah. I tell I do a lot of cameos, and I tell people, that I found that if you're in the moment, it's almost impossible to be unhappy. You're only unhappy when you're living in the present, or no, I mean living in the past. When you're remembering, some sad thing or some, tragic that happened, and you keep revisiting it in your mind, or you're worried about the future. Oh, like I get a big kick out of watching the news. When they say, well, climate change, and if it's the fish are the ocean's too hot for the fish, and you know, and stuff like that. It just cracks me up because people take on problems like they can do something about
Right.
it.
Exactly.
like worrying is going to make a difference.
Right.
You know,
I have the same thing.
and yeah, and I'm just in such a state of bliss that it's almost dangerous.
You're funny. Well, you're still here, so you're dangerously here.
Yeah.
We we appreciate you. I'm just curious. You've branded yourself so well as a stoner. How
Yeah.
do you feel about getting typecasted as that? Did you ever have any desire of have a different role, or you don't mind just being yourself pretty much in every flick you're in?
Oh no, I found that to be the easiest thing. Well, you know what I learned. I was in a band. Well, actually, I owned a bar, family owned, But I was the brains behind it. So and the bar was, it was an after hours club, and it was given to me basically. The guy that owned the building, he had an empty steakhouse, and he says, would you be interested in putting a club in here, nightclub? And I said, sure, absolutely. And he said, okay, well then I won't charge you rent till you get going, and then it won't be that much. And so I did. And so as a result, we had a home base, and it was great. But I wasn't interested in running a nightclub. I was just interested in playing music. So my brother took over, and he ran it beautifully. And uh, and it was such a success, because what we did, we had a house band, but we never had a name for the band, because our goal was to provide music for the customers. Well, we got discovered by Diana Ross in Motown, and next thing you know, we're being signed by Motown, and the guy said, "What's the name of the band?" Well, we never had a name. And so being comedians, all the musicians that I've ever worked with, every musician is a comedian, by the way, because they're trained with timing, and they love to laugh. All musicians, except the crazies, that are, they're over the hill. But so we come up with a real funny name, ridiculous. It was, I won't say the word, but it's the word that black people don't like, being called the N word.
Wow.
And so, because we had four N's, four black guys in the band, and myself,
Wow.
we call ourselves the four N's and a C.
Get out of
Being
here.
Chinese.
Wow, you would have been canceled before you even made it out there.
We put it on the marquee, and we got one customer that night, and it was a very angry black lady wrestler by the name of Lottie the Body.
No way.
And she sat and watched our band, and we were a good band, and so we played a tune or two, and then she yelled out, "Well, I see the N's, but where's the C?" Well, my dad, who was Chinese, took offense, and he had no idea what we were doing, because he didn't look at the marquee. He was just there to, to help be a doorman, actually. and so Lottie grabbed my dad and body slammed him on the floor, and so then I jumped off to help my dad, and she body slammed my poor ass on the floor.
Oh, shoot.
And so we changed the name to Four Colored Guys and a Chinese Lad.
Oh,
But and then Motown said, no, you're from Vancouver, so we're going to call you Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers.
wow.
And so next thing you know, I hadn't planned on it, but I'm in Detroit, and we recorded a song that I wrote, and it hit the hit parade. We started, touring and headlining, and then backing Diana Ross, and oh yeah, we're on our way.
Wow.
But then I found out we had, because we're Canadian, and we did not plan to go to the States to work. And so the immigration, they got wind of us, and so they came and deported us. Self-deportation it was called, to Windsor. And so then I had to get a green card if I wanted to work in the States, which by then I thought, wow, I really like being in the States. And so I got a green card, but I got fired in the process.
Wow.
Because the road manager didn't know that I needed to, he had no idea what a green card was. He was just, doing his job, and if you don't show up for the gig, you're fired. Anyway, that's what started me on my career as a comedian. So my whole life has been sort of like an accident. I just went from one being fired to, one door closed, another door open.
What a life, man. What a life. That's great. That's a great story.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even know that. I mean, is it true that when they had the Lion King casting, they wanted to give you one of the roles, but they gave it to Whoopi Goldberg because they couldn't find you. What's up with that?
No, I turned it down.
Oh,
I turned it down because um, Disney was so anti-pot, and like you couldn't even get into the Disney grounds if you had a marijuana T-shirt on or something, that kind of thing.
okay.
And so then I said, screw them, And anyway, Cheech and I had been we'd been broken up. And so it was no longer Cheech and Chong, and he grabbed it right away. He went for it right away, and I turned it down. So Whoopi Goldberg, they give it to Whoopi instead.
Well, imagine Whoopi got a role that you should have had. That's wild.
Yeah, I regret it. Thinking about it, but I don't regret my stance. Because that, my whole thing has never been about money. It's never been about money. And as a result, I made a shitload of money. Because, it's like gambling, When you're afraid to lose, that's when you lose.
True.
But when you know that you can't lose, that's when you win, But you got to know when to quit. You see, that's the trouble with gambling, is that there really is no good time to quit.
Right.
They say it is. You quit when you're ahead, quit when you're behind, quitting period is always a good time.
Generally.
But it's hard to quit when you're ahead because you're ahead.
Right.
You're winning, And the worst thing about gambling that I found is that once you start gambling, your money does not mean anything anymore. It's just like a means to stay in the game.
Right.
It loses its value until you sober up a few days later and if somehow you manage to hang on to some of your winnings. But even that, it's dangerous.
Wow.
Because then you feel that you found a way to make money without working,
Right.
And that's dangerous.
That's scary.
And that's dangerous. It's a trap.
Yeah.
It's a trap. So I've gambled, but I don't gamble now, and I never will. And people ask me why. I tell them the same reason I don't ride a Harley. I'm too old and too rich.
You're funny. So what happened in the 90s? You died, apparently. What happened? Like, how did you get back to life?
Well, it was that old internet, I guess it was Facebook too. Facebook and I don't get along. They banned the Cheech and Chong site,
Really?
which I wasn't even dealing with it. But we had the Chambers brothers. They were doing our Cheech and Chong site, and we had millions of viewers, followers. And then all of a sudden, I think because of Trump, they had to make a stand, and so they got rid of guys like me, the potheads and that, and so they could kind of make an attempt at policing their outlets. But again, you see, that's money, because they went for the money, they went for the Trump, they went for the big bucks, and in the end, they're going to lose.
Right.
In the end, something's going to come along and make Facebook a thing of the past. Make Facebook something like Kodak film.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That happens all the time. No, life really is a big test. It's one big test, and the only thing you really want to worry about is your reputation. And that's what people really do. They protect that as much as they can, because that's really all you got,
Right.
And that's why if you're doing anything wrong, you may not go to court, you may not go to jail, you may walk around free, but your reputation will follow you everywhere you go. And eventually, you pay the price, you pay the piper.
Right.
So that's the way I've always been. I don't worry about the money. The money will come, or it won't.
Right.
In fact, I've got a thing where I like to give money. Like I tip very, very, very nicely. I love to see the smiles on people's face,
Right.
you know, and nothing nicer than, you know, you're working, parking cars, or you're doing some kind of, you know, terrible job, you know, that's horrible. And someone gives you a nice big chunk of money. That brings a lot of joy to people's
It
face,
does.
you
You can
know.
change their life for even a minute,
Yeah.
a day. Being
Yeah,
generous is great.
yeah. The same, yeah, the same as the homeless. You know, you know, even my son, he's sort of down on him, you know, because he had to deal with them in Venice. But I look at homeless as being myself, but for the grace of God, there go I.
Right.
You know, and who knows? Who knows? In this lifetime, I might be homeless. You know, you never know,
Never
and
know.
it's not so bad. It's like when I went to jail, you know, people at first, you know, I tried my best to stay out of jail,
Right.
you know, and I did things that, you know, I even tried to do an anti-pot commercial for them,
You
but it came
tried.
out so pro pot that it came out so pro pot that
Bro.
my lawyer said, no, we're not going to show this.
Wow. What were you like? Don't do this. It's great, but don't ever do it.
I kind of forget what it was, but it was some. It looked like a parody, you know, and it was. It really was.
Yeah, you were the
Oh,
poster
when I went,
child for pot. How the hell can you do that?
well, when I went to, before the judge. Now the judge was expecting me to be defiant, you know, and screw them, but I was the opposite. And I said, "Sir, I realized what I did was wrong, and I apologize. And if you give me a chance, right now I'm working with kids. Or I was, and I'm teaching them salsa. That's
Oh,
what I told
shit.
them. Because it's true. Because I think salsa should be taught in classrooms. when I think about it, I crack up. Because the judge is, you know, he's getting ready for this big anti-government rant, you know, and I'm up there saying, I think we should teach everybody salsa.
The hell with the Pledge of Allegiance. We need salsa in every class.
Yes, yes. Well, because the way what I did, I mixed salsa with tango. And see, I'm a tanguero. I love tango, and what I love about it is the the whole what's it called, the way you do it, you know, the system, the way here's the way it works. I'll think of the word, but the women sit on one side of the room and the men kind of on the other, and the women sit down and the men walk around. And so when a man wants to dance tango with a woman, he'll walk over and look at her, give her eye contact. And if she wants to dance with him, she will look back and say yes with her eyes.
Mm.
Just give it a nudge. If she doesn't want to dance with him, then she just looks away and becomes distracted. Therefore, nobody gets embarrassed. You don't get turned down and, you know, embarrassed. If a girl doesn't want to dance for whatever reason, she just looks away.
Mm.
And then when you get a girl to dance, you take her to the floor, and there's a ritual. It's usually three dances, but after each dance, you have to ask, "Would you like to do this again?" And then if she wants to, she says, "Fine." If she doesn't, then you escort her back to her table. And it's so, and the man have to be dressed nice, not crazy nice, but neat, clean, smell good. You got to look like a man, you know,
Not
like
like a
like
peacock.
you want to be. Yeah,
You-
you want to look like a man that wants to be around a woman.
Gotcha.
And the women, they're beautiful. They're got their gorgeous, sexy dress on, and they're smelling great. Their hair is beautiful. They're beautiful. They're there to enjoy a man's company, and sometimes, and the rule is you dance three dances, and then you escort her back to their table. because 3 dances is enough, and so I wanted to integrate that into, and I did. When I was teaching these kids, I taught them salsa, but I taught them that same ritual, and it was so much fun watching these little, like, it was mostly ghetto kids, and little ghetto kids, and big guys too. How it's high school, grade school is. You got 6-footers in there, 12 years old, and so I had them, the ladies sit down, and the guys stand up and then walk over and they would make eye contact. And it was so beautiful because kids love to act. They love to play act, and you give them this thing to do and they will do it. And then I've talked to kids that, this was, '03, and I've talked to kids since then, or people since then, and I put them on the road to salsa and dance, so I tried that, tried to explain that to the judge. And the judge, I think what he did, he could have given me a couple of years, but instead he gave me 9 months.
Wow.
That was his thing. The prosecution wanted more, but I think the judge kind of looked at me. I probably made enough sense that he got the idea that I'm not a radical by any means,
right.
And I'm not, and I think that really helped the cause, because when you get militant, then you become an enemy,
Right.
But when you're like me, and when you just want to help people, then they don't know what to do with you.
Right. You almost like a martyr.
And they didn't know what to do with me. Yeah. Well, when I went to jail, I got treated so nice. I mean, even the warden, like I was in a camp behind the main prison, but I would, I had free run of the prison because of who I was, and so I could go anywhere. And at one time I was in the garage area, and where the warden would come and get his car service, because he was the warden of the big main prison, where the language was Spanish. They had really a lot of tons of Spanish Mexican, and so I met the warden, and he was real nice. He shook my hand. He said, "Oh yeah, you're our famous prisoner. Oh yeah, it's nice to meet you, Tom." And then I tried to get a kiln, because I'd been making clay bombs in prison, and I wanted to fire them up. and I heard that through the grapevine that they had a kiln that wasn't being used, but that was too far. The warden says, "Well, I'll see what I can do about it." But I knew right then, no way I was going to get that kiln. Wild. But I was treated really nice. We even did filmed a documentary.
Really?
In the prison.
Wow. Yeah,
well, the warden was nice. He said, sure. We got to use, it was the camp supervisor. We got to use his office while we were filming and did the interview. And then they had the CO, the lady that was kind of in charge of me, she sat in on the interview to make sure that, everything was proper. But I had so much fun because you're shooting a film, right? And I'm in the warden. I'm in the warden's office, and I could hear them walking around outside. And even though we didn't need quiet on the set, I yelled, "Hey, quiet on the set!" And I got the warden tiptoeing around.
No way, that's funny.
It was great.
Man, you make lemonade out of everything. That's great.
Yes, that's what you do. Oh, that's what you do. And I changed lives too, because I was giving I Ching readings we had the native Indian grounds where they had an Indian sweat lodge, because federal prisons, the natives are allowed to have their mode of worship. And the sweat lodge was the Native American way of their church. And so they mandated that we have a sweat lodge, and
Wow.
that's where I hung out most of the time.
That's great.
Even one time, my wife was visiting me, and I said, "Honey, I got to cut the visit short because I got to go work on the sweat lodge." And she got a little pissed because she had to drive 2 hours
Get out of here.
to see me. 2 hours to see me, and then all of a sudden I cut the visit short.
You're like, I'm too busy, and you're in jail.
Yeah. Oh, we had, even visiting, we had a lot of times because I hooked up with my mostly bikers. They were mostly peaceful bikers, and this one taught me how to do time. We become friends, and the way you do time is you play games. You are constantly playing games and card games. We had a game called Casino. And my wife and my son, they both got hooked on the game. And so they come to visit me, and next thing you know is, okay, get up the cards, let's go.
Get out of here.
We'd spend the whole visiting time playing cards.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we turned it into. I turned it into a very, very positive thing.
You did, and I heard that you bunked up with Jordan Belfort, the famous stockbroker.
I sure did.
And you're a big part of one of my favorite movies, The Wolf of Wall Street. You pushed him to write the book.
Yeah. Well, he was writing a book, but I helped him, get his priorities together. See, he's he was a professional con man. With that's why he's in jail. But he made tons and tons of money, and so when he didn't have to go to jail, he was like Cosby in a way. He had the right people paid off. And so but he messed up and he ended up in jail. But he didn't. He was still had that attitude. Which all criminals have, which is this sort of defiant, screw the system, anything goes kind of thing. And so when I was writing my book, and so he sat down and he wrote a couple of pages and handed it to me. What do you think of this? Well, Jordan is a genius. There's no doubt about it. Like most con men are, they have a genius, but they just got a missing app somewhere along the line, And so he wrote a couple of pages, but he copied Tom Wolfe, Bonfires of the Vanities.
Oh, no.
Yeah, word for word. I mean, he's got a photographic memory. That's what these geniuses have,
Wow.
And so I told him, he said, what do you think? I said, you didn't write shit. You just copied somebody else, Tom Wolfe. See, that's how I helped him.
Right. You made him, you gave him the truth.
I gave him the truth. I said, no, you didn't write shit. And then I went back to write my book. And so then so what do you think? What should I write? Then he got very humble. Because that's what you got to do with these guys, You got to knock them. Yeah, that's what you do with
You
them.
called him out and you gave him the
Because once
truth.
you challenge him, I call him and he said, what should I write? I said, write those stories you've been telling me every night. That's what you want to write. And then I give him a hint. I said, and if you're going to describe something, make it the biggest. I call it the most of rule. It's got to be the biggest. Like if you're going to get high, you got to get higher than anybody's ever gotten in a lifetime. And well, like Cheech and I, when Cheech eats some pills, I say, oh man, you just ate the most acid I've ever seen anybody eat. You know what I mean?
You're wild.
And it's a movie. That's what you got to do. And so he listened to me.
He did.
And then his writing was so smooth after that. He didn't have to think about it. You just have to remember all the crazy stuff and that movie in the book just touched on a fraction of his life.
I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine that.
And I'm looking forward. Yeah, I'm looking forward to another, but maybe not now because he got out and he's started, right back making a ton of money, like only Jordan Belfort could do,
That's right.
and that's what he's doing now, there might be a documentary about Jordan
That'll be
in
great.
that one period. There's some, yeah, there's people talking about it, and that would be great.
It would, because you guys are almost like opposites in a way.
Yeah, we were. We were.
So tell me,
In fact, I was on a radio. Go ahead.
no, I was just curious, like, what are the things that you watch, like on TV and movies, and everyone knows your public kind of advocacy, stoner, peaceful, love. But what are you watching on TV? What do you watch on Netflix and movies?
I love documentaries. I love travel shows. There's a Rick Steves. Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
He's on the KCET, I think, the Channel 28. And any travel show. I just love travel shows. And then I love watching old war, especially like the old newsreels of the war, of the Second World War, the First World War. I got a channel now that shows all that, and I'm addicted to it. I think that in my other life, I think it had something to do with the wars, because I'm just drawn to, just like before I went to prison, I started watching Shawshank Redemption almost every night. It was on. And I was watching that almost every night. And not only that, but I had a writer that wanted to write a movie for me. And so I said, well, go ahead. And so he wrote a movie about a bong being incarcerated.
Oh, God.
And it's funny. I can't find it. I've been looking for it because, and this is while the feds were surveying my house,
right.
Tapping my phone and doing the helicopters over the house and that, spending all the taxpayers' money trying to find, because Ashcroft bought the premise that our bonds were funding terrorists.
Oh, God.
The proceeds from the bongs, we made billions of dollars from the bongs, and therefore we were funding terrorism.
Unbelievable.
And that's why they had to break up the bong ring.
Oh my God.
You talk about lies, man. Lies. Yeah. It was I forgot the question. Was there a question?
Me too. I'm going down your road, man. You got great stories. What's one of your all-time favorite movies of all time? It could be a classic, could be new, could be old.
I've always said Badlands by Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek, and it was Terrence Malick, one of his first movies, if not his first. I think I broke the record for watching. Many times I've seen it because I haven't seen it for a while, and I'm kind of like savoring the time when I will see it again.
Right.
Do you know the movie I'm talking about?
I do. So why do you love it so much? Why did that one stand out?
It was counterpoint. Like he would play classical music to a killer that was running away with a young girl and killing people on the way. Not killing because he was a killer in a sense that he was poor, uneducated. They didn't say ethnic, being shunned upon, but Martin Sheen is Puerto Rican, and so then it had that flavor too. But then it had this innocence with Sissy. She was a cheerleader, and and the way she reacted to her people being killed, her father being killed, it was like it was exciting more than it was sad or blaming, you know. And it just, oh, the whole movie. I mean, God, the scenes, you know, when he burned the house down, they had this classical music playing, and then Warren Oates, Sissy's father, he was a sign painter. He was an artist, and so he had a big billboard of art. It looked like a canvas. It was a canvas, and he's out there working on his art, and so it had art and classical music and classical acting. The acting was so, the writing, to me, it was like just put you into their head, you know.
Right.
You're riding along with them, and you're kind of rooting for him.
So that's the irony.
You know, whether, I mean, this guy's a
Right.
serial killer, and you're rooting for him,
Right.
and you understand the love that he has for the young girl. And then the law enforcement, when they caught him, they were depicted as like hunters, you know, after a prey. And even them, even that they had respect for Charlie Starkweather, I think was his name, for Martin Sheen's character. They had respect for him,
Right.
you know. And he had been in Vietnam, and like, at least in the movie. And so when they were chasing him, he had all these Viet Cong sort of tactics to ambush his people. So it wasn't that typical Hollywood, you know, they're running and, oh, we got to get over here, you know, like, you know. No, this is the guy. He's being hunted, and so he's hunting them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It was, and right up to the very end, there was nothing in that movie that allowed you to go get a popcorn or get a drink or take a leak or anything. You could not. I could not leave that movie, and it was the whole experience. The movie, the sound, the music, the story, the photography, everything. To me, it still to this day is the most perfect. And it was a road movie too, where they're on the road.
Right.
You know, it starts off, and then they're on the road.
Right.
You see, and that's another thing. I mean, that's what, you know. I don't know if you noticed, but the Cheech and Chong movies were so influenced by that mindset.
Right.
You know, especially, and then Terrence Malick, every movie he made after that, you know, what's the Days of Heaven, you know, with Richard Gere. Oh, another classic, beautiful, everything Terrence Malick's done. And then he made that Vietnam movie. Another one. You know, I haven't been able to study it as much as I did the Martin Sheen, you know, the Badlands, you know, because, you know, there's a thing about war, but this is a kid that Martin Sheen's character could have been me, you know, because that was the kind of education I had,
Right.
You know. And he's in a stock market, like he's got no, you know, like stock markets, you got no respect for the dead cow. He's standing on the cow, you know. He's like, you know, I've grown up in the country, and I know that feeling. You know, a carcass is a carcass, you know. And I've been with you know, in the country boys, and one of the things they did in Calgary anyway, coming home, was to kill gophers. You know, because the gophers overran the pastures, and they were dangerous for horses.
Wait, gophers?
And so
gophers.
Like,
I thought you said golfers. I thought you were killing golfers on the golf course.
Gophers. Gophers, or what do they call them?
Like little squirrels, kind of thing.
What do they?
Right?
What's it?
From Caddyshack?
Ground squirrels.
Okay, gotcha.
Ground squirrels.
I'm like,
that's what
whoa.
That's what they call.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've seen them, I've seen the older kids kill them.
Wow.
In fact, I had a BB gun one time, and that was my sport. Would be go out and hunt gophers with BB gun, and kill them with
Wow.
a BB
That's some
with a
country
BB gun.
stuff.
I didn't get. I wasn't. Yeah, I didn't get a lot, And the thing is, with country, you have to find ways to spend the days, you know and like you're in no hurry to do a whole lot of things.
No, I heard about cow
you know
tipping. What's up with that? Did you guys do that?
yeah, yeah. No, I never did that. No,
But I heard.
but yeah, I understand. Yeah, they fall asleep standing up, and then you tip them over.
That's wild.
No, it's just my upbringing. It's the way I was raised. One thing about being in the country is that time, you are aware of every bit of time. Like mornings can be real long. You know what I mean? Because you don't have any robotic thing to do in the country.
Right.
You got to feed the animals. You got to be present. You got to know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't just put something on automatic, and that's what the country people are, because I guess we're always in the present, unless you're dreaming about some girl or
There's that.
or some faraway places that you'd rather be, daydream. Yeah, lately I've been really reminiscing about my early life. It was idyllic. It was I couldn't ask for a better childhood.
No, that's great, man. You got some stories. We need to do a memoirs on you and your whole life.
I've done it. I got more to do for sure. Yeah, because of the pandemic, Cheech and I quit performing because of a lot of reasons, but mainly our audience was there's so many Trumpies that it got a little scary to be on stage. They were laughing and cheering at the wrong spots.
Wow. Are you working on anything lately, or are you just taking it easy? Do you have any productions coming up?
We got a lot of stuff. I do cameos. That's like birthday greetings, and I get as many as 20 a day sometimes.
Wow.
So that keeps me busy. I do these podcasts. We got my daughter and her guy working on a documentary that's should be finished by Christmas, maybe sooner. We've got my son's showing a movie that he's producing. It's a Cheech and Chong movie, but it's more of a dramatic movie at the end of our lives. We got that going. I've been doing a lot of art, like cartoon drawing. No, I've been busy, and I got a nice camera. I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, my son went, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I said, "I want a nice camera." So he got me this Canon that's beautiful. But everybody else has used it except me. I got pretty bad eyesight, but I'm going to start dealing with it. But my grandson shot a little video for me, and then I'm working with my wife on TikTok. We're really popular on TikTok, and I'm looking forward to be doing some kind of I guess we'll do a special, Tommy and Shelby special.
Wow, what are you doing on TikTok?
Because my wife is.
What do you do? Like what kind of skits, or what are you doing?
Well, we're doing funny little like 30-second or 50-second bits.
Okay.
Just tiny little things. Everybody's got that short attention span.
Right.
Yeah, I have it. I'm on my phone. Well, let's see what's on Twitter. Okay, let's go. You know what I mean? We go back and forth. I don't do Instagram. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm too busy with cameos and stuff like that. No, I'm busy. I'm as busy as I want.
Wow. It's
But and I got a little poodle, a little dog that he's my guy. He's my guy. I had to leave him to go up to Washington. I did some in-store appearances. Oh yeah, and I do that. I do in-store appearances in the pot shops. You know, people buy my product, and I sign stuff for them and just talk to them. I like one guy says, "Are you going to do a talk?" No. I said, "Wow, it's interesting." You know, because usually, you know, they sign autographs. It's a meet and greet, you know?
right.
But yeah, I've been doing, especially with the cameos. You know, people ask me to cheer someone up, or you know, give them a little birthday shout out. You know, and they're always uh, ex-pot heads, or they grew up with the records. You know, or
Tell me
or
about. I
now
mean,
it's
you're a big
uh,
entrepreneur. I mean, you started you had a business. I mean, that's when you got arrested for that, whatever, the bongs. But
yeah, the
you had
bombs.
Nice
Yeah.
Dreams Enterprises where you were like one of the first guys like commercializing paraphernalia, I feel like,
CBD.
and CBD.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We're right into. We're doing really well. God, in some places we're in Walmart of all places.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Walmart.
Cheech and Chong apparel. Cheech and Chong apparel is selling in Walmart. Yeah, and all over the place. Yeah, I'm trying. I would like to be richer than Bezos. You know, Amazon guy. I would, because I would show these guys how to use your
right.
money. They obviously don't know. You know, what's he buying, a boat?
He's going to space. He's making spaceships right now, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They go to space. I'm so stupid. People ask me, but what do you think of UFOs? I said, well, you know what a UFO is? It's a drone.
At this
That's
point,
all it
yeah.
is. It's a drone. Because if you're that evolved, you're not going to cramp yourself into a spaceship and you go. I mean, you're probably the most useless piece of equipment on a
Yep.
spaceship, a human being, because the only thing they're going to do is you got to find a way to have them pee, have them breathe air. You know what I mean? You have to do all these things. And what good are they? Are they going to remember anything? Are they going to photograph anything? No. Are they going to measure anything? No. All they're going to say is, wow, it was, I floated around, I was light. You know, and then they're going to go, yeah, it's in the books. I'm the first guy that rode 4 minutes into space. Who really gives a shit? I mean, think about it. Who really gives a shit? And same as Bezos' boat. Now, I don't give a shit how big, we got those. They're called
Right.
freighters.
Right.
You know, they're useful. They carry cargo.
Right.
You know, when you look at those billionaire boats, you know what they got? They got a tanning section
Wow.
where you can sit,
A bowling
on a
alley.
lounge and get some. You get some sun. Yeah. Oh, a bowling alley in the middle of the ocean. Oh, how about a fishing rod?
Right.
The nuts, you know. How about some gauges to? How about going around and figuring out what to do with the garbage that's in the
Right.
ocean? You know, how about that? You know, you got a suntan. In fact, at your age, you don't want to be in the
Right.
sun. You know, and if you want to go to Cannes or something like that, you don't have to go in a big fucking boat.
No.
You know, you can go in luxury, or you can have you can watch on TV. You can watch Rick Steves and really enjoy and see stuff that you'll
Right.
never see on your own.
It's true.
You
Now
know,
there's just It's
No, I
just
mean
clout.
these guys. That's
It's
what I
really
want
just
to do.
clout. Who's richest?
See,
Who can do
see
it?
I just want. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, who can be the dumbest? That because that's really what the contest is. Who can be the dumbest?
It's wild.
Yeah, going into space, and then Branson has to be the first. Now who's going to give a shit? Maybe Jeopardy. Years from now, they'll say, "What millionaire was the first to go into
Right.
space?" And then I don't know. It was Richard
Right.
Branson. Oh, okay. Next
Next
question.
question.
It doesn't mean shit. That's what I'm trying to
Right.
say. So if I can, with my CBDs, become the rich, as wealthy as these guys, man, I got so much I want to do with the money. I know what to do. I know how to, for instance, I know how to solve the homeless problem. You know how do you do that?
You build homes for him?
With a movie company.
Um,
No, with a movie
How's
company.
that?
Okay. The movie is going to be, and I'm working on this. The movie is going to be over a span of 10 years. I'll start small, 10, but it'll go into 20. Every area that has inundated with homeless becomes a movie set. And everybody on that set has to be in the guild, a directors guild, carpenters guild, actors guild, whatever your qualifications are. Now, even if you're in a wheelchair and you can't move, you can be immovable extra. You know, you can be in the what do you call it? The people with the disabilities section. But you got to be in a guild, and the reason is because when you're in a guild, in a union, you have health insurance, you have an address, and when you join a movie company and you don't have a place to stay, they provide uh, accommodations. And so everybody in the movie set will be an area of LA, uh, will be will be part of a movie company. Now you have to show up for work. You have to show up for. Now, if you can't do any of that, and say you are mentally you have mental problems, any kind of health problems, any kind of thing, then you are, because you're in the guild, you have the hospital coverage. You have all that coverage to take care of your medical needs, be big or small. They're all going to be that. And so what happens when you do that, you create employment for everybody. And then and when you have to place to stay, it won't be a tent on the street where there's no bathroom facilities. It will be in a decent place. Now, for the nomads, could be trailer parks, it could be campgrounds, if that's what you want to do. But every trailer park and every campground has rules, and you have to follow those rules. Now, so you can't be stealing, you can't be drinking, you can't be creating any kind of illegal activities, because you're on a movie set and you're being paid. Now, if this doesn't appeal to you, and for some reason, you want to rebel against it, then they do have prisons for people that break the law, because what you're doing, you're creating a law of a code of conduct, much like the military. Now, when you have a movie set, you have security. There is a security unit. That's their job, is to be security, make sure people don't break laws, don't steal, they don't create trouble, they don't do anything. And that's what every movie company, every movie studio in Hollywood has security. And they have legal. They have a legal section, so that you have to do everything legally. If you're here illegally, then you will, if you you know you can apply for, especially if you got a job. If you're in a movie company, they will take care of your legal status. And so that's what I plan to do with the movie, because we don't have a movie industry now. There's no such thing. Everything is going to TV or streaming and stuff like that, and series and everything else. And it's okay, but it's not very comforting for longevity. Because one thing about a movie company, well, like MGM used to be, they had from cradle to grave. They took care of all the actors in that. And like the Mickey Rooney's, Elizabeth Taylor's, and that they went through that school. And then the best. That's how directors are picked. You get your creative people out of the civilization, and it creates order on the planet. Now you're making movies, and all movies, there's exceptions. There's horror movies, but even then, you got to have a code of conduct in order to have a civilization that functions. Like the Native Americans before Columbus and before the white man came, they had that order. Now they still had wars, they still fought, but even in the wars, they had a code of conduct. There were certain things that you could do and certain things you could not do. Even in combat, and yeah, they tortured people. Yeah, like. And it's tit for tat sort of thing. But there was also, they had a peaceful arm, and they had people that took care of the food, took care of the travel. I mean, and that's what was lacking. And when the white man came and broke up, see, the white man brought order according to their rules. And the natives, they had to assimilate like we all have to do. You had to put on pants.
Pants.
You couldn't walk around with your with your jock strap. You know what I mean. And so the movie angle is so good, because back in the day, that's really what came to West. It was the movies, the good guy, the bad guy. The bad guy, he's mean, he shoots people in the back, he steals, he robs, he rapes, he does all that. That's bad. The good guy, the marshal, he comes on. Yeah, sure, they had racism there. But that was the order of the day back then. Now, this is modern days. This is modern times now. And the other thing that I would point out, and I don't know how you do it, but it can be done. And what it is stopping the violence around the world. The violence around the world is a normal order of things. We live in a physical universe, and when you look up in the sky and you see stars twinkling, that twinkling is huge explosions that are so huge that we see them from Earth, even though they're 50 million light years away.
Pretty amazing.
You're seeing violence. And that's why you see violence on Earth when you least expect it. And the one phrase that cracks me up that people talk about, they say, I don't want this to happen to anybody ever again. I love that when they say that, a mass shooting, whatever, some, tragedy. And they say, I don't want anybody to go through. Come on, this is a physical universe.
Right.
If there was peace on Earth all over the world, it wouldn't be a month before there would be a violence.
True.
That's the nature of
True.
humans, because we're in a physical universe that creates violence. That's what violence is all about.
It's inevitable,
You know, it's it's
unfortunately.
inevitable. But what you do is like sailing. You know, like you need water, lots of water to sail. You know, now if you don't want to be rocking that, you can put the sailboat on dry land, and you're not going to go anywhere. You know, you're, you're just going to be stuck in that one spot. Well, that's the same thing as life. You know, you're on it's moving. Everything is moving. We're traveling through space now at the speed of 1,036 miles an hour. We're moving right now. And they've been doing studies to see if you can feel the movement of the planet going through it. No, you can't, because of the nature of this planet itself. But this is a spaceship that we're on, you know, and we're only on here for a while, a temporary trip, all of us, you know. And so what we have to do is learn. And you don't learn by winning. You learn by losing.
True.
You know, when you win, all you do is celebrate, hey, kiss, and spray champagne around, you know, then drink it. And then you wake up the next day and they go, okay, now what? You got to do it all over again.
You're right. Yeah, we learn a lot through losing and failing and making corrections and experiencing things.
Yeah. It's just like, and by the way, all of this is described in the Bible. All of what I'm saying is described in the Bible. The Bible really is a how-to-do book, how to do it. You know, it's our rules and regulations. Now, it's written by writers, you know, and you have to decipher, you have to really study it, and you have to understand what it means. And it's not about money. All you preachers out there that are making a buck off, you know, selling your birthright, you know, it's not about money. And people that do that are going to suffer, because you're creating a horrible. Well, look at the pandemic. You know what? The first two things that were to close were churches and bars. Churches and bars. You could not congregate in a church or a bar. And you know what was considered essential? Marijuana, cannabis. Think about that one.
That's wild.
Because we don't have to congregate to smoke our pot.
It's true.
We can do that alone. Or we can hand it to a friend that's 5 feet away. No problem.
Wow.
Or we can just keep our own joint and smoke it like Snoop Dogg does. You know, when Snoop Dogg gets a joint, that's his. He smokes it all by himself.
Have you met him, Snoop Dogg?
Oh yeah. We're buds. I was in a movie called Car Wash.
Right. Yeah. I feel like he carried the torch a little bit.
Now, Doctor,
for you, Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, he does. He did. He had a Up in Smoke tour. Dr. Dre. Now, I was on a couple of Dr. Dre's records.
Really?
I helped make it a double platinum. Yeah. I was.
What did you do on Dr. Dre's album?
I did what Dr. Dre calls do that hippie shit. That's what I did. I did some of that hippie shit. No, I did, you know, hey, are you a real doctor, man? You know, just put my voice on it. And I've been, and we're, you know, that the Earth really, I had not an argument, but a discussion with my son about it, you know, because he's very young. That's how I can describe him. And he listens to me, but he's heard it before. and he's still in the figuring that out for himself stage. So I'm not going to interfere with that at all. But yeah, if I see great future for everybody. Yeah, we'll get through this. We'll get through everything. Because we're eternal beings.
That's right.
We'll always be here.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm curious before I let you go, because you're the most interesting person that I've ever talked to. But I'm curious. I mean, you put out so many of these products with CBD. You even had like Chong water with hemp. Do you still have a whole product line like that?
I think it fluctuates. It fluctuates. What sells, what don't, gets put on, gets given away.
Do you have your own edibles or cannabis line in dispensaries?
Oh yeah, we have Chong. We're doing a lot of what do you call it? Single joints. What are they called?
Just like pre-rolled.
What's my brain?
Oh, the vapes.
Yeah, pre-rolls. No, we have vape. We have Tommy Chong vape pens. We have Tommy Chong pre-rolls. We have and Cheech and Chong. Cheech has his own line. I got my own line. We have everything. What I'm really happy with. I got him here. Oh no, I got him. I don't know where I put him. I'm so disorganized. It's ridiculous. I've got these breath strips that are really good. Let's see if I got one on the pocket, because I always give this stuff away. This is one of my most popular. This year. This one is my own. They make this strictly for me. But what they are, they're little breath strips.
Breath is in to freshen up your breath?
Yeah. And this one has
it has CBD in it?
THC.
THC.
This is THC. Yeah, THC. Yeah. This is like a joint.
Really? So you get the same feeling or similar than smoking a joint?
Better.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It comes on like a good idea. All of a sudden, whoa. And then I have to really have a conversation with myself. Why am I feeling this good? All right. I did the best. My short-term memory, man, it's dangerous now. I swear to God, because I got so much going on.
That's wild.
And I understand Einstein. He'd lose his glasses because he'd wear them on his head. I understand that, man. I lose my phone all the time, and then I realize I'm talking in it.
That's wild.
But these strips. Oh,
what are they called?
It'll come on. Oh, they're 20. This is 20 milligrams. They're THC strips.
THC.
Tommy Chong.
And where can you buy them? Where can people buy them?
They're in
not Walmart
pot shops all over the place. Not yet. We're getting there. You see where the government's going for? Schumer and them are going for the legalization.
The federal one, right?
They're going to reschedule. Yeah, they're going to reschedule everything. And you know what? People are so negative. People are still feel. I see why people think that Trump never lost, because they've got the same mindset as Trump when he was in prison. President.
President.
It's all negative.
Look at that Freudian slip.
It's all negative. Trump is all negative, and that's what I found out. What they do, they're not for anything. but they're against everything. You see, and so people do that a lot creatively too. Especially bosses. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. No matter what it is, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. You give me something else. Give me something else. And then you give them everything, and then you give them the original. Oh no, I like that. No, that now you're talking. You see, it's just it's like a habit, like scratching your balls. You get a habit, and you just do it automatically.
Right.
And that's what these people do. But it's going to be legal, and I love it. And I kind of understand Joe Manchin by not wanting to do the filibuster. It's too easy. What they're doing, they're torturing the shit out of the Republicans. They're making them say, no, I'm against it. They're against everything because Trump is against everything. And they're so far up Trump's butt, that they can't see daylight. And so, I, rather than get pissed off at Manchin, enjoy, because what he's doing, he keeps pushing them. Now, come on, Republicans, see get rid of Trump, get that Trump if you can, but it's an ignorant pill that they swallowed, because that's where they are now. That like all those guys, like Mitch McConnell and McCarthy, all those guys, they know better. They know what's going on, but they're like that thief that's caught with their hand in the till. Now they don't know what to do, who to blame it on. Oh, that sleepy Joe Biden. They're screwed right now. They're screwed, and they're on like investigating the insurrection. You can't be any more guilty than everybody there. They were taking selfies of themselves that the government now has a hold of. They got people literally attacking law enforcement to change the government. That's treason. That is punishable by a lot of years in jail. And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But not until we have elections, not until we vote every one of those Republicans out into civilization, into the civil world, and then you talk about defunding the police. No, you don't have to defund anybody. All you have to do is, they got jails already. I was in one of them. In fact, it was closed down for some reason. I'll have to do some research, but they've got prisons ready to take all those people, and it doesn't matter how many they are. We can do it.
Wow.
Because we'll change the pot laws. And see, that was the only, you talk about the longest war. It's not Afghanistan. It's a war on drugs. And you know why it's not legal now? Countries are still getting paid automatically every year. They get millions of dollars to eradicate pot. And you can't eradicate it. Yeah, you can eradicate it in one country, but then another country gets legal, like America. And now it's legal everywhere. And the ones that were illegal, look at them. They're the ones that are suffering the worst pandemic. And that's another thing. Nature kind of went on our side. Nature says, okay, I'm with you guys. They don't believe in global warming. Okay, watch what we can do. Watch what nature can do. Yeah. So we're on the cusp. And even if it doesn't happen this lifetime, it will happen eventually.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, you just got to keep the faith.
True. Well, man, Tommy, you are something else. You you have a great way of thinking. You're so positive, and I truly appreciate talking to you and learning about some of your life experiences. And
Yeah.
I realize why you've been so relevant for so long. You're just so transparent, and you're yourself, and that's, I think, the secret to your branding is you stay true to yourself.
Oh, oh, you deliver, you know. I mean, anybody could do it. Anybody can do it. You have to, it's biblical. When I think about it, the Bible says that don't come to the altar if you have some problem with your brother. Take care of that problem first and then come to the altar. Okay? Well, your brother can be a ton of things. It could be a secret desire that you have, or a secret fear, or some phobia that's stopping you from evolving. And so what the Bible says, you're going to get all the riches given to you that has been promised to you, but you can't. It's kind of like Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods was pure of thought, he could not lose. It was only when he discovered his dick
Oh, jeez.
and what it could do.
Yeah.
And then his dick took over. Now look at him. He can't even drive down the road without rolling the car over. I mean, he is totally without that spiritual help. Because what happens, you see, you have to go to them. They're not going to come to you until you're ready to go to them. That's what I mean about, if there's anything wrong, get rid of that problem that you have. Now, your brother could be anything, your drug habit, or your greed, or your fear, or whatever it is. You get rid of that. And then when you come, and then the riches of this planet, this earth, is yours. It's yours. Tiger proved it to us. He was the little black kid, man. Little black kid came in and just astounded the golf world. Why? Because he was pure. He was pure. The minute he got soiled, see, you're your own worst enemy. And that's what happens with everybody. That's why if you got anything, if you got greed, if you're worried about anything, greed about your rent, about anything, you see, if you're pure, if your thoughts are pure, then what happens? This force, this life force that controls everything on the planet, everything in the universe, and not only this universe, but every universe is imaginable, which is endless. Then once you become one with that universe, the riches come like you can't keep up with them.
Right.
Like me. Look at me. I just came back from Washington, where I just did opened helped some sell our product, some pot shop sell our product. Now we're getting on a plane, and we just got carry-on luggage. My carry-on luggage is full of pot. Now there was a time when I would be stuck in a room, and they would be going through my stuff, and looking at my butt, all that. There was a time. This time is go on through, sir. Thank you. but you have to wear a mask, and that's even better, because you know what happens when you got a mask on?
Anonymity.
You don't talk. You don't talk, and so you're on a plane plane load of people. Cheeks used to get really pissed off because we'd be riding somewhere and we'd get on a plane and the people in front of it inevitably would be having the loudest conversation ever. And it would bug the shit out of Cheeks to the point where he'd really tell me, hey, shut up. Well, the mask, you can't talk, man. And you have to listen. You know, everybody has to listen. Oh, man. If you've got the right mindset, man, right now we're going through one of the best periods of our lives.
It can be. Well, you got a great outlook on life. I mean, this has been a real fun conversation, and I know a lot of our audience are going to love it.
I think this could be.
Now you're fully one with the universe.
Oh, you know it. Oh no, I can't wait to get out and do. Oh, I got a lot of stuff to do. Oh, I got my camera. Right. I think I'll do my mic. I got a macro lens.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go out and look at some ants.
You're funny, man. Well, Tommy Chong, man.
Okay, man.
It's been a great pleasure chatting with you. I wish you success and health and just keeping your great spirit alive, man. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you. And we'll do it again.
I can't wait.
Okay?
I can't wait.
Okay, brother.
Take care, Tom.
See you next time.
All right.